Hi guys, and welcome to another Tales of the Towers. We're sitting at episode 5 now, and yeah, I'm really chuffed. I think we're getting a good following, and people are actually listening to these episodes, which is kind of very interesting to me. A bit of change of scenery, not sitting in the kitchen like I always do because wifey is cooking dinner, and she chased me out onto the stoop. So sorry about that.
Yeah, we
But
broke a record. We hit 7,500 on one of our TikToks.
can you
That's one of
believe that?
a new record.
Amazing. So once again, I'm going to go with a couple of questions. Sorry, I just want to kill this. That our staff asked, and there was a very interesting question from one of our TikTok followers that asked, "What would you have done differently in connection with the making all that debt to start your business?" I think maybe they're in a similar position than you are or you were in, and what
Yeah.
would you have done differently?
Um, Honestly, one of the big things is I think I would start earlier. I wouldn't have waited until I was 30. Maybe the life experience was needed, but going from starting earlier, I definitely start out at a bit of a slower pace. And like you said, not for a lack of resources, but a lack of resourcefulness. Started it slower, uh, hopefully planned it out better, and just worked my ass off. I think that would have been the easier thing. The two of us are very aggressively patient, so we tend to dream very big, and obviously if you want to do things faster, there is some amount of extra financial backing needed. So that's where the catch 22 comes. Is it an early business, you in it for the long run, you have time, then I'd say start it off slow, perfect the product, perfect the offering, make sure all the admin and nitty gritty stuff is in place, and concentrate on customer service and delivering something amazing. And then something that we constantly currently really working hard at is keeping it simple. If something's simple, you can scale it. And that's where the aggressive growth can come from.
So my input in this is, I think what everybody thinks is that it's going to take a couple of years to make a success, and it's not. It's going to take 10 years. You bargain for 10 years. So the earlier you start, obviously, the better. But I've found that older entrepreneurs are more shrewd and make better decisions because they have that life experience. As a matter of fact, there was a study done that proved that the percentage of successful entrepreneurs that are older than 40 have a much higher success rate than the younger guys still learning the ropes. So once again, I think plan for the long run. What do you do differently? What many people do is they work on their product or service and then just go and market it, get the product or service as good as you can. Uh, Reading a book now by Ryan Holiday called Perennial, and he goes into the details of how to be perennial, how to be a success for a very, very long time. And it's all about the product. Microsoft Word was still used by everybody today, and that's the central piece of software that Microsoft uses till this day. But it took them years and years and years to develop and get that right. Um, be aggressively patient, as Niku said. Take your time, work on your product, get that as good as possible, and then the rest will look after itself. But also be willing to live below your means, live like a hobo and a bum. For years and years, Niku and I, didn't draw a salary, a proper salary from 2015 to 2021, 2020. 20, so 5 years we didn't draw salary, then a minimal salary, and we're still earning less than many of our staff members, and pumping everything back into the business and aggressively patient and happy being aggressively patient, because at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur, the rewards that wait for you is so much higher and so much bigger, and the changes that you can make making proper money. is worth it, I think. So important.
Definitely.
So yeah,
And on that, the two of us spoke this morning in our little daily breakfast powwows, brainstorming, bromance meeting. I don't know what we want to call our morning breakfasts, but
romance
it's
is
very,
good.
very, very
We should
needed.
live in together.
Yeah. So basically, something that I showed you this morning, and I want to share with everybody. I saw two short videos this morning, and just basically jumping on the fact that we're not pulling heaps of cash and we're not pulling these big salaries. Everything's going into the business. But one of the videos I showed you this morning is about a guy struggling and he's down and out and he's on his last cent. And it's really, you can see this is, uh, I had this whole Job in the Bible vibe from the guy that it's everything that can and will go wrong is going wrong. And he ends off the video where he basically just said he's not complaining. He's just telling his story. But in his heart, he's grateful. He's counting his blessings. He knows things are going to change. He's got a roof over his head. The electricity is on. There's food on his table. Yeah, it's difficult to get to work, and the car's shot, and his bank account is on zero. But there is food, and there is a job to go to, and there's a next paycheck on its way. And if we go from that where we were last week with keeping life simple, if you can keep life simple and you can count your blessings, yeah, there's not a lot of things in life that can keep you down. And that one basically flows into another one where I'm very optimistic and I'm very positive about life at this stage, about where our business is sitting at. And I showed you the other one where a guy says, if you have a look at, if you want to outperform 99% of the rest of the world, it's a few small things. Um, I'm adding counting your blessings as one, my own, onto that. But you need to get up in the mornings, work out, eat right, text five people that you love them, spend the rest of your day focusing on building revenue
And
and building
relationships.
relationships.
Mm.
And that
Yeah.
relationships one, I think I've had with our sales ladies in the last 2 weeks. I have been hammering on, we're talking about closing techniques and we're talking about uh, closing that sale, finding
Meet,
leads.
meeting
And
objectives,
yeah,
handling objections. Yeah.
exactly. But for me, the easiest and best tip I can give anybody in terms of sales and finding new business and growing a business is actually building relationships. It's a basic human thing. If you do good for somebody, and if you do business with somebody, and that person is happy with your business, and you are building a relationship with that person, that relationship generates so much more in the long run. And it's business, it's life, it's friends, it's uh, I don't, it's endless, but building solid, good relationships is actually one of the keystones. If I ever write my book about sales or whatever one day, I'd have at least two chapters, at least, about building relationships.
Mm. Listen, Nico, I just want to get back to that gratitude, because to me that's really, really important. And um, people try to, if you have gratitude, it's very difficult to be negative and be down. And um, if you have a bit of gratitude and you just say thank you for the basics that you have. That's why I love Thanksgiving Day that the Americans have.
Oh, yeah.
I want to give thanks for this, and I do my gratitude in the morning when I brush my teeth. Literally two, three,
I,
four,
I
five
love
minutes.
that. I love that, that little ritual of yours. How's it go
Yeah.
again?
Manu hono polo. It's thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me. It's actually I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you just picture somebody in your mind that you want to say thanks and be grateful for. and he goes as far as doing it for objects and things and rooms and whatever. But I do that with people, and um, I just, while I'm brushing my teeth, I say my little prayer to God, and I say thank you for everything I have. And it's so important to be grateful. Really, you cannot be down if you're grateful. I love that video that you showed me. It's honestly amazing. The guy's down in the dumps. He's hurting. He's sore. His car's broken, and then he says, "But I've managed to keep our family going for another week. There is not a lot of food, but we have food, and I want to, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that. It's just amazing. I'm going to try to put a link to that. We'll ask Sam. Sam, if you're watching
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
please
we'll
leave a
we'll
like.
do that. Because I actually just before the podcast started, I saw his second one after that because he's got like 100,000 views on that video, and people
Mm.
are asking for updates. And then he's got
Ah,
a second one. I'll show it to you tomorrow morning. We can try and tag it as well, where he says,
okay.
"Listen, there's still no update, still no change, but he's still grateful and still going, and they're still
Good,
surviving."
good. Love it. Okay. So then Matt, our technical director, asked us to talk a bit about honesty in business, one of our value statements. And I quickly asked him, what does he want us to talk about? He says, well, sometimes I feel that other companies aren't as honest as us, our competitors aren't. So I don't want to mention names, Niku,
No, no, we
but
won't. That's not the way we do things.
okay. But
I
why is
think I,
honesty important?
I think I want to jump in here in terms of I want to dumb it down to something stupid that my father told me when I was a little boy. All right. So we actually talked about it. My father passed away 16, 17 years ago. And
I
he
was
was
going to
my
say,
best friend. Yeah, best friend. And we shared everything. And one of the biggest life lessons I learned from my dad is he told me, listen, you're a smart boy, high IQ. I can see you. Uh, you're going to make it in life. But remember, it's very difficult to remember a lie. It's easy to remember the truth. And let's be honest, if I come in, my primary function is bringing in deals and doing the big deals. And if I'm dishonest with the client, I have to remember the lie. And with the amount of things we do in a day and the amount of things that happens in a day, if you sell a lie, you're gonna have to struggle to remember that story or that little extra tail you added on. And I mean, this is not even just business. This is life as a whole. If you
mm-hmm,
tell a fib, if you tell a lie, you always are gonna have to remember that lie. And whomever you tell that lie to again, you're gonna have to try and remember it.
mm-hmm.
Where it's very, very easy to recall the truth, to
It's
recall a
yeah,
memory. And I think
super.
if you take that also being caught out in a lie. I mean, imagine I'm
Yeah.
selling something to this client with this big deal and promises of we going to the moon, and you don't deliver. Obviously, your credibility is shot, your reputation in town is shot. We're starting, well, not starting. We've started this business. We're close to 10 years old, and you can't afford to have your reputation tarnished in a small town. I mean,
Well,
you're
that's
gonna
what we're
get
gonna.
eat by a tomato or something in a shopping center.
Yeah, I hate it if the client looks unhappy while I'm walking past him in the bread aisle at Spa. No, what's going on? Yeah. So yes, you're 100% right. So Matt wanted to know what we do differently in terms of honesty. So honestly, what I feel that our competitors do, no names mentioned, but some of our cellular providers have this thing called the speed test. And then you're on a 5G network and you do a speed test and you get a 100 meg plus connection. And the moment that you plug that connection into a network, a business network, it doesn't work. It's slow. Your voice calls do not work. And they're naughty because what they're doing is they're actually putting a speed test server at the CDN. In other words, they've got a speed test server at the tower where you're connecting
Mm.
to. So you're not doing a speed test on the internet speed. You're doing a speed test on your connection from your cell phone to the tower. That's not right. That's
It's false.
dishonest. Yeah, 100% false. Secondly, what many of our competitors do is they're selling fiber solutions to our clients. They call it fiber to the home. But what they fail to mention is that the main backhaul link connecting to their point of presence or to their fiber link is wireless. So they're selling fiber, digging the ground up, putting fiber into the ground, and installing that at your home. But the link, the main backhaul link or the last mile, is a wireless link. It's not fiber. That's also
which is
something that
not.
I really
Yeah,
feel right, you know. And then another thing is they selling you 100 meg line for 1,000 rand or whatever, and never ever will you utilize that 100 meg line. As a matter of fact, Prasim just gave a report on what their average speed is that their clients are pulling, and they've got thousands and thousands of ISPs on their books, and the average speed that an ISP client pulls in peak time is 10 meg.
yeah.
10 meg. That's
I
very
think
high.
I
I
think
mean,
we saw that stat from Prasim where they said 10 years ago in the US, broadband was seen as 10 megabits per second, right? And they said the average usage was 4 meg per second. Now, 10, 15 years later, broadband in the US is seen as a 100 meg connection. And obviously, if I do my maths, 10 meg, 4 meg average goes up to 100 meg. That should say then the average usage should be 40. But that's wrong. The average usage is between 8 to 10 meg.
correct. And the thing is, the internet and TCP/IP, the protocol that runs the internet, is so efficient. It's written so well, and what makes it brilliant is the more nodes that you add on your network, the less your latency becomes and the quicker your internet connection becomes. And it's just an amazing protocol. And the guy that wrote it was an absolute genius. But it to me, that's why sell this huge line. The only thing that can actually use that, okay, look, gaming, we need that
Hmm?
latency. We need, obviously, fiber is
But
quick.
again, you don't need the speed. You need the latency. You don't need 100 meg to game.
Correct. Correct. Tell us, you said that you were downloading a game and your buddy was on a 100 meg link. What was he on?
Actually, a 200 meg fiber
Right.
from
No,
a
no name.
cellular provider,
Okay, good.
and I'm on a 20 at home, supplied by Tech Connect. Awesome guys, go and Google them. And we were sitting in an online chat. Not a lot of people know that I'm a bit of an avid gamer, but yeah. So we're sitting on the headsets and we're having a little chat. How's life? And the game we're playing has got I think a 12 gig
Awesome.
update. So the two of us got headsets on. Our download started. It's the auto start at 7. So we chatting away while we wait for the download. And I'm up and we got the headset on. It's Bluetooth, so I can make coffee and whatever. And I think within a few minutes, my download was done. And his
20
was
meg.
only like one quarter into the download. And I'm like, listen, you must check something. Is your because his daughter also plays. Maybe her downloads are running, or somebody's doing something on Netflix. And he says, no, he's changed the password every Tuesday night. He changes his password so nobody's on the Wi-Fi, so that he can do his weekly updates. And our internet, thanks to Prasim, I think mainly outperformed his cellular fiber straight to the house, 200 meg versus a 20 meg, and I was done at least half an hour before he was.
I wonder if there wasn't another technical glitch somewhere with his router that wasn't quick enough. But
No, I actually any desked into his connection because I couldn't believe it, and he was the only one onto I any desked onto his PC, and I connected to his router, and he was the only one on his router. You know what's happening is they are, um, and without getting technical, I don't actually want our podcast to go all tech geek out.
yeah,
I like to explain things easy for clients. So I just want to go on where you were talking about the TCP/IP protocol and to ease it down for everybody. Long and short is the bigger the internet becomes, the more towers guys like us put up, the more
efficient.
bigger the coverage becomes, the more servers there are, the more paths there becomes the bigger the highway, the faster the traffic is going. So without being too flash with technical terms, every single day the internet becomes faster. That's actually the long and short of it. But on this friend of mine's connection, what's happening is what's nice is internet is like water pressure in your house. And what's happening is if you've got 100 liters per second flow and you open up a tap, hot water, that first tap is taking as much as it can. But now a second person starts taking a shower, then it halves and halves and halves, and the water pressure goes lower. And internet basically works the same. And I think what's happening on the bigger cellular networks, the guys are, we talk about a contention ratio. And I think they've, especially on fiber, are really overselling and getting to numbers of like a 15 to 1 or a 30 to 1. So in layman's terms, that would be if you've got 100 meg that you can sell, they sell that 100 meg 30 times. So 30 people who each has a 100 meg line are sharing actually just a single 100 meg line. And that's why there's always peak hours. It's a little bit slower because then more people are using it. Where I think we can honestly say, oh, proof is
We
in the
thought
pudding.
due to
But
the technology to go to a max contention ratio of 20 to 1. Thought.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I did the math the other day. We are less than 1 to 3
Oh,
at this stage
brilliant.
where we're sitting.
No. Okay, so
Um,
now to me, my beautiful daughter asked a question, and she asked if she meets someone new, she doesn't know how to do small talk. Now, I'm not the best person at that. I'm actually, when somebody starts doing small talk, I walk away. I'm not good at that. So she asked if Niku could give us some advice on somebody that she's meeting for the first time. There's this new girl in the hostel, and she's really, really nice, and she looks sweet, and she wants to introduce herself and talk to her. What suggestions?
I love questions like this because I really feel this is something I'm good at. Um, it's something that's always come natural to me. I just like people, just like talking. Um, but the two of us have had a little talk about it. Something that I'm actually changing these days is starting to listen more and talk less. And that's actually that's where I would start with to me is ask questions. People love to talk. It's actually
About
look,
themselves.
yeah, about themselves, exactly. So the tip I would give is to introduce yourself and ask a generalized question, your name, where you're from, what you're interested in, and then actually, honestly, um, passionately, geez, you're gonna have to help me in English. Aandachtig,
With attention or with definite,
to
I don't
really
know
be
my
interested, listen and
heart.
be interested in what the person is saying. Uh, People love talking about themselves, and people love to feel that they've got an audience that's listening. And it's obviously a bit of a personality thing, but if she can, and then they find common ground. So asking smart questions, trying to find out what this new friend or possible friend, what the interests are, hobbies are, stuff like that, and then finding common ground, and then finding a middle ground where where the conversation can flow both ways. And it's a confidence thing, number one, because I mean, to me, she's bubbly with people that she knows, but she's a little bit introverted when it gets to new people. So that's always a big step, being the first one to start off a conversation.
No, she said the girl came in there with a mountain bike and she trains with a mountain bike. So that's nice. A nice place to start your conversation with is yeah, you enjoying mountain bikes. I have a mountain bike and I can't ride my mountain bike because there's lions where we are. So it's a nice conversation starter, I think. Okay, so now Sam, I think we're going a bit over time. We're on 25 minutes. Sam wanted to know. Sam is our operator, our business operations manager, and she wanted to know what is how do you start an ISP? Because she wants to know, is it really that difficult? And for the guys out there that are thinking of starting it, what are the ins and outs and the technicalities and the paperwork and the red tape. So I'll quickly start. Is that you need to register at ICASA to get like a license with them, a ECNS license they call it, and it costs a couple of rand. These days as well, you need to be
And then
aware
there's
of
the
the fact
second one as well.
the ECN and the ECNS.
Yeah.
Okay, so the ECN is to build a network and in your province, and the ECNS is to actually um,
So,
sell it, sell
yeah.
sell the data on the network. So you're allowed to build a network if you want to put up Wi-Fi cameras and things like that, but you're not allowed to sell internet on that network of yours, and then you need an ECNS license. When we started out in 2017, it wasn't that expensive, and we just went through our castle audit now and I had a look at the prices, and I was actually shocked that it was like 65,000 rand. We paid, I think, 20,000 rand when we started.
Mm.
So then also you need to have a very good BEE plan. You must make sure that your BEE is right these days. Starlink is battling to get their BEE licenses and things. So that's one reason that they haven't rolled out in South Africa yet. Um, and then the building the network. I think if you want to hop in here because you've got the CCNA knowledge,
Yeah.
but you know,
So, yes, obviously the admin side important. Uh, Number two, I'd say location, location, location.
eyesight,
Um, eyesights. That is one of the most. We're very, very lucky. If it wasn't for the Lebombo Mountain, yeah, I think we'd be definitely not far along as we are right now. So yeah, obviously height helps a lot. Height brings down costs, I think. Imagine we had to build a tower that gives us that coverage from Lebombo. That would have been a what, 200-meter high tower.
so
So yeah, that's very important. Then obviously scaling the network, constant future planning in terms of clients per sector. Um, Obviously using the right equipment. We learned some lessons in the beginning, and
so let's share those
with
lessons. I think it's important that we actually share those lessons. The, the there's equipment that you can use for the access points like Ubiquity, and then we also used Mimosa for the access points because it gave us a bit of extra what do you call it,
spectrum
spectrum at the end.
leeway. Yeah,
Yeah, but it wasn't as good as the Ubiquity, to be honest. Um, the routers and the client routers, client equipment, Micritic, because it's
yeah,
just years ahead of the competition
yeah.
and the
And
things that
bang
you
for
can
your
do.
buck. I think bang
Mm.
for your buck at the end of the day.
What scares clients
Wow.
away is the technicality of it and the complexity of it. But it's a learning curve. You have to learn it, and once you've
Yeah.
mastered it, you can do so much with that equipment. And for the amount of money that they charge, it's a steal, honestly. And
But
then
okay, let's make this a little conversation. So, would you rather have a tender router with a easy interface that a young 12-year-old with a bit of tech savvy can log into, change a password, and see some data and numbers going around? Or would you rather have a MikroTik router in that the client is too afraid to touch, and actually we've got all the power in terms of it's a WhatsApp, change my password, or we can automatically do changes and stuff from our side, and the client is actually just hands off, and my internet must just work.
so you mentioned the name Tender, I think, and you just swore. It's a swear word. Do not ever mention that to me. It's fine for a client device, but one if you want to have advanced management and you want to be able to run ACS or TR069 to and manage the router properly and and like on a fine grained scale, be able to do advanced scripting and things like that. Um, and the fact that the client doesn't want to log into the MikroTik to have a look at what's going on, that's not the main point. It's the power that the MikroTik gives you. Um, if the client wants a, if we were in the position where we told the client, we'll give you internet and you choose your router, 100%, choose a tender. But then basically, I cannot help you with internal network issues. There's no troubleshooting. There's no torching, for example, to see which devices. Look, we cannot see what the client's doing on the internet, but we can see which devices are pulling bandwidth. And the amount of
Yeah, we
tools
can
that
see to what site. I can see that they're watching YouTube, but I can't see what video they're watching.
yeah, exactly. Um, so hands down, if we were ISP that said we just look after your internet connection and we stop there,
Mm.
10 does fine, honestly. And I know so many ISPs that do it that way, but 90, no, let's be realistic, 80% of the issues that we find is on the internal network, and we have to help the client troubleshoot that and help them with that. We had a client today that his phone was stolen, and he says his internet is slow, like you cannot believe. We logged into the MikroTik, saw that the stolen phone is still on the Wi-Fi, and we told him, go run around and look, you'll find that stolen phone. It's a strong signal. And
Sure.
I'll leave the story there, but that phone was hogging the network. So we can actually go and see which devices are hogging the bandwidth internally. So miles down MikroTiks. Now, backhaul radios, if we
Mimosa.
look Mimosa, 100% Mimosa, just a bit of extra spectrum makes a difference. 60 gigahertz radios, we're looking at
Yeah.
Ubiquity again, the long range rockets. What other technology are we using? Preseem, very important to make sure that your
Yeah.
client's bandwidth is monitored and managed properly.
I don't know
Um,
if we were lucky to, or that we got onto Proceem as early as we did, because I mean,
R&D,
yeah,
R&D, research and development. No, I looked everywhere. I looked at bandwidth arbitrator, at tons of products, and nothing could do what Preseem does with their FQ Codel shaping protocol. So Preseem is hot, and the ISPs that don't have it, you really need to get hold of that product. It's brilliant.
no, definitely. Yeah, I
Okay,
think
so
that's
Sam,
long and short of it. And then obviously, going deeper into it, the question was starting a wisp. So I'd say growing a wisp is something we can look at next week, maybe. So yeah, let's leave it at this one. I think we covered a starting one, and maybe a good idea for next week one is growing a wisp, because I think there's
yeah.
another whole can of worms we can open on that one.
Then we had a couple of questions from clients about Starlink and what's happening with Starlink in South Africa. Can they use Starlink in South Africa? I think you go first. You've done
Yeah.
some research.
Short answer is yes, you can. Long answer is it's not officially supported and sold in South Africa. Obviously, Elon Musk, as we read, doesn't want to give up 51% and be have a BE partner, and thus not getting ICASA licenses. So our government is blocking the path for Starlink into the country, as we understand. Um, so legally, 100% legally, no, it's not available. But you can buy it from the US or UK or African country, and basically then just syncs to, I think it's Nigeria or Mozambique, and
Kenya.
connection. So with the satellite, that leak that they get, they can't stop it by border. So it does leak over into South Africa. So we know of a few clients that already have gotten hold of Starlinks, and it's working. Um, Expensive. I'd honestly say price is a bit steep at
Yeah,
this
it's about
stage.
20,000 to buy, and
Yeah,
then you're looking anything from 2,500 to 4,500 per month for 100 meg connection. But the caveat there is that it's month to month. They cannot guarantee you that it's going to work forever. So
yeah.
if Icasa decides to nail it down and lock it down, and ban it, they're going to do so, and they
Yeah,
do have the technology to do that. So, and the regulatory authority to do that. So, if somebody comes and grabs your Starling dish, you can't do anything about it. You know.
yeah. Because to just to go on to the ICASA license that we were talking about, the what a lot of people don't know is you can buy wireless equipment and build your little network at your house. You are actually allowed to build a link over the road, but you need a ICASA license. The way I understand it is if you want to build a wireless signal link over a national road.
Correct.
So
Correct.
yeah, you can build your own little network and share your internet with your friend or neighbor or on a farm, connect pack houses and whatever. You don't need a license for that. But as soon
But
as you
building over a
build a
national road,
network that's going over a national road,
that's where you need the licenses. And trust me, ICASA doesn't play around with these things. I've
no,
heard them rip down equipment and pull out
confiscate,
towers, confiscate.
confiscate and fine.
We need to get our towers labeled. Remember that, Sam, help us. Um, we have two towers that don't have labels. Then I think that's about all the questions. And I, if anybody has anything that they want to know, we don't want to go into too technical details. Otherwise, we make it technical towers from the tails. Um, this is really just something that we want to put out there and see if there's any help that we can give young entrepreneurs. I want to touch on one more quick thing. We had a very, very interesting lady visit us today, a young girl that is not looking for a job. We actually invited her for an interview, and it was such a breath of fresh air talking to her because she immediately said that she's interested in sales. She wants to do sales. I've
Mm.
never heard that from anybody before. She wants to sell, and when you actually had the opportunity to do a quick sale to one of our new clients, and she listened to that sale, and she said it was amazing that you talked so little. You literally didn't say anything. You just let the client talk the whole time. Is that what sales is all about?
Yep. No, it was actually very nice, and I loved the vibe and the very. She picked up small things that I've been training some of our other ladies, and with one conversation, she actually picked it up where she said, "Listen, you started off talking, and then you got the client to talk, and from there the client was just talking, and when he got everything out and he had his whole story, she said I was like nailing the points, answering all the touch points and issues that he had, and basically I was just fixing his problems. And she, very sharp lady. I was very impressed today. Just for her age, wise beyond her age. I was very very impressed.
Yeah, it really gives me hope. Honestly, I think that we've got some brilliant youth out there, and they need guidance. They need help, and they need training, and they need us to help them, and that's what we're here for. And we're gonna
Yep, that
definitely
is the
help
goal.
them. Yeah. So that's it, Niku. I think that's our final episode, our final thoughts. We have a very big sporting weekend up ahead. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be brilliant. Wales up
Yeah,
against the Springboks. We've got a good
hoping
team. So
Sia lasts longer than 40 minutes, and
yeah,
Sia's doctor needs to spend time with Andre
uh,
Pollard now.
yeah, definitely because he did a miracle with Sia. Then I'm taking Tabu fishing. If Dwayne wants to come with, he's welcome. I think I'm
When you
going to
going
try
Saturday?
Saturday morning. Yeah, so just the morning. We're going to do like a 8 till 1.
Okay, we'll
Some
talk. We'll
tiger
talk.
fishing. We've got the tackle and everything, and then Picky's going with as well. Hopefully, I think Tabu organized it, and that's it. That's going to be a good weekend. You must enjoy it, and yeah, I love you, brother.
Awesome. Love you too. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, cheers. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Okay, I can't.